Hi, this is Anita from 5 Minutes with Art, where we spend 5 minutes a week to talk about all things that have to do with art. If you've been listening to this podcast, or if you're not, if you're new, welcome. We love all things to do with art, and we hope that all of you that are out there will decide to become an artist yourself. In fact, we say that anyone who decides to pick up a brush is an artist. Whether it's a brush, whether it's a pencil, whether you decide to be a ceramicist, or whatever form of artwork you decide to do, that automatically makes you an artist. Today we want to talk about some inspiration. Where can you find inspiration? Let's say that you've decided that for the new year or for whatever, your goal, that you want to start to learn to paint or start to learn art. Where do you go to find inspiration? So I'm going to give you some 5 tips. Maybe some places or ways that you could go or things that you could look at to help you to become more inspired as an artist. One of the hardest things is that when you are painting, you sort of look at that canvas and it's blank and you think like, what am I going to put on there? And I understand it that sometimes you get nervous and you think like, what if I make a mistake? What if it doesn't look right? What do you do? Don't worry about it. Just put that brush mark onto that canvas and start painting. But here are some strategies that you could use or some things that you could use to help you to become a better artist or to find inspiration around you. First one is to get artistic eyes. And you might ask, well, what does that mean to get artistic eyes? Aren't you sort of born with that? Isn't it something that people are either born with it or they're not born with it? No, I don't believe that at all. I believe that getting artistic eyes is something that you can learn. It is something that you can become better at every single day with practice. One is you can see paintings around you. Some of my greatest inspiration I found has come from things like looking up at the sky or looking at something out in nature. And I thought, wow, that would make a really cool painting. And it hasn't always been that it was a, painting exactly of the sky. It could have been, it was an abstract painting. So, great artists, they see inspiration all around them. They see art around them. Look at the shadows around you. When you're outside, maybe you're in a shopping mall or somewhere else. If you're like me and you like to sort of study people, go out and study people. Go to a park, study people. Look at the shadows. Look at their faces. Look at where the lines are. Look at where the noses are, the contour of the noses. Just, study people or study nature or study whatever it is out there that you want to be able to study. But look for the shadows also too. See the composition in life, that sort of commit to memory some of these compositions. If you see a beautiful sunset or sunrise, think about that. Think about the colors. Think of how the colors sort of blend together, and you can use it as inspiration for your art. The other thing you can do is you can snap photos. I'm a great believer in taking photos. You can you take photos and say, look, I'm going to use this photo later for reference. That's a great way to be able to help you to get inspiration for your art. Smartphones make it much easier for you to be able to, take photos of things that you feel inspired about and take those photos and use them. And don't be afraid to, print them up in a big size and use them, as a big size next to your canvas and use it as inspiration there. The other thing you do is study the art of the masters. One of the reasons why I sort of started this podcast and my blog is I wanted to learn about the masters. I knew to become a better artist myself is I need to understand more about them and their work. And I definitely have some favorites. I mean, of course, one of my favorites is Van Gogh, but I also really love one that's not as well known as Clyfford Stills, who's an abstract expressionist. And if any of you get to Denver, there's a museum there that he has of all of his work. Some fabulous work that he does with abstract expressionism. And so, study the works of these masters, see which ones you like and why do you like them and what techniques did they use and how do they blend the colors and what are the other things that they did, and then use them as inspiration for your own paintings. Don't be afraid to learn new techniques and learn about composition. And the other thing is, sort of understand, what's your style of artwork. Some people love the masters. They, wanted to, be able to paint like the old masters. Others, they love the abstract expressionists. Others want to splash paint like Jackson Pollock. There's nothing wrong with that. Understand exactly what your style of art is and then go from there and learn on it. Also have a drawing and a sketching journal. We love the Procreate app on the iPad as a way to have a sketching journal, to be able to sketch things down, to give yourself inspiration. It's a great way to be able to always have your journal with you. I've often said that if Rembrandt, if Leonardo da Vinci, if Van Gogh had the technology that we have today, that they would have used it. So don't be afraid to use technology to help you with your art. I have written a blog post on this, which has a lot more information, and it's 5 tips for finding art inspiration. And we'll put a link for that blog post into the description if you'd like to be able to learn and more and, find some inspiration and find ways that you can go out and be inspired by art. But most of all, we encourage you to pick up a brush, pick up a pencil, pick up whatever form of art you want to, and just start doing it. And once you do, then you are an artist. This is Anita from 5 Minutes with Art. Thank you so much for listening to us. We really do appreciate you. And if you've enjoyed us, give us a thumbs up. We'd love to have you subscribe to us. We'd love to have you be part of our podcast channel. And we'd like to thank those who help make it possible, specifically for our team, Rico, who helps make this possible and gets these podcasts out there for the world to listen. Thank you so much.